So I just bought a welder, and this is what I'm going to talk about. This guy I picked up used. I got a pretty good price for it. It was I paid about half of what it retails for, which I sort of gauge that as that's what I want to buy tools at if I'm going to buy them used. I want to buy them half of retail. I think anything more than that, depending on what it is. I mean, I guess there's some tool brands that are going to retain their value very well over time. But in general, that's what I like. So this guy is it's a gas and gasless flux core welder. I've got it set up for flux core for the time being. One, because I don't have gas, and two, because the main motivation behind buying a welder again, I used to have one years ago, is I'm fixing up a trailer. Now, if any of you follow my Instagram, you'll see my big carport tent blown apart, huge windstorm, and I had a 16-foot travel trailer that was in there. And right before the tent had blown apart, I decided that instead of renovating the trailer like I intended on doing, I'm just going to turn it into a good utility trailer. And what I discovered when I ripped it apart was that I'm not satisfied with the cross braces, or the lack thereof rather. It's got a pretty good solid frame all the way around, but I want to add some more support in there. So this is where this guy's going to come into play. And the flux core being that I'm going to be welding outside. If you weld with gas, you're not going to get good welds. Nothing that's going to hold up, because any little bit of wind is just going to blow the gas away from the nozzle. So that's what I got here. And also, it's going to be, coming time where I'm going to be wanting to build some new furniture. And rather than going all wood, I'd like to incorporate some wood and metal. I don't know if that's just a sort of a phase that I'm interested in right now, or I don't know, but that's what I want to do. So I have a few things in mind with this guy. Getting shop time is going to be the hardest part of it all. So this guy, 180 amp, all knobs and everything, just like any other one has. Because it's 180 amp, it is a 230 volt unit, and my shop is not wired for that. I know next to nothing about electrical. Just looking at my breaker panel, it's full, so I don't think just popping in any new breakers or anything like that is a possibility, if it's even that easy. So what I did instead, and I know this slightly controversial online, but I made this guy. Now, I had originally thought, well, maybe I'll do a video on my main channel about making this, but then I thought, as I already said, I'm not that great with electrical. I mean, I can put a wire together, that sort of thing, no problem, but I'm not comfortable enough to do any sort of how-to video, because if you're not careful, you don't do it right. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of voltage. Worst case scenario, you burn your house down and hurt somebody. So anyways, that being said, I will talk about what I did. If you choose to make one of these on your own, that's on you. So I don't want to be getting any messages saying I burnt my house down because I tried that. So this guy, first part, this is the dryer plug. I unplugged my dryer, which is on the other side of the basement, and because I'm going to be welding outside on the driveway, which is also on that side, I've made this so I can just plug it into the dryer outlet, put this out the window, and I can weld outside. As far as welding in here, I'm not sure. I mean, I've got concrete walls all the way around. However, a lot of wood rafters up here, so I would not weld as the basement stands right now. I don't know if I'm going to make a little enclosed welding corner with flame retardant cloth. I don't know if I'm going to do that yet. I would need proper ventilation as well. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. But this guy is just a dryer plug. You can go to a hardware store, home center, pick these up. I don't know what the prices are like in the US, but in Canada, this guy was about $20 at Canadian Tire. I was originally just going to buy the plug with no wire, but I can't seem to find this plug. It only seems to come with, 4 feet of wire attached, which is fine, I guess. So the second part, I was able to find this guy, which the welder fits, the welder plug goes into there. So I got this for about $12. It was on sale. Again, if you go to Amazon or somewhere in the States, it's most definitely going to be cheaper. And then I got this this electrical cable rated for the appropriate amount of voltage, and it's 10 gauge wiring inside. So 3 wires, all 3 10 gauge. And then I spliced it together inside this junction box. Now this is where it gets a little bit controversial online for some people, because most of these welders, they call for about 50 amp service. Dryer outlets are rated for 30 amp, and yeah, so some people are saying, I do it just fine, not on the highest setting, but if you keep tripping your breaker because there's trying to draw too much power from the breaker panel, you could end up damaging the breaker or starting a fire, something like that. So I made it. I looked at the manual, and even on the face of this guy. Now it says that it only draws 25 amps, but the manual says they suggest a 50 amp wire and breaker. So I don't know why. Again, I'm not very savvy with electrical, so I just thought, screw it. I'm going to 30 amp. Seems like it'd be okay. Spliced them together, tried it out, plugged it in, and I didn't have it on high. I think I had it on D, and it goes from A to F. I had it on D to try it on some 1/8 inch steel, which is primarily what I'm going to be doing with the trailer, and it welded just fine. I didn't trip the breaker. The cables weren't hot on either side, so nothing was heating up here, and it worked. Yeah, so again, if you want to do that, try it at your own risk, but this is what I got. Now, for the inside of this breaker box, I'm not going to bother opening it up, but I've got this guy is 4 wires, because you see 4 prongs. These 2 are hot, this guy is a neutral, and then this guy is the ground. Where, as you look at the plug here, this guy's ground, these 2 are hot. So we've got a neutral wire not doing anything. And all I did was I just cut the neutral wire. I sealed the ends so there's no chance of it coming in contact with any other wire or metal. And I put the hots to the hots and the ground to the ground, and that was it. For the inside too, I grounded it to this box. So, I spliced them just fine. It should never come out. But in case it does, I'm hoping that grounding it to the box will prevent me from cooking myself inside out. We'll see. So that's that. Yeah. It works. You don't want to go too long with the extension cord if you end up making one. Usually in the instruction manual they'll say recommend a maximum of this many feet for an extension cord. I think this guy was 25 feet. I'm well under for that. Maybe 10 feet, give or take, maybe 12. So I'm well within those. And then my helmet, picked this guy up at Princess Auto, sort of like the Harbor Freight for Canada, only fewer good deals, I guess. There's lots of good deals, but I mean, Harbor Freight always has that 25% off coupon, and they pretty much give stuff away sometimes. We just don't seem to have that sort of store, unfortunately. But anyways, I got this on sale. It's a Shop Iron brand. I don't know if any other place sells it, but what I liked about this guy, auto shade or auto darkening shade, it's a variable shade, so I can dial it in. It's got a grind mode, pretty big screen. I think it was 32 thousandths of a second reaction time. And another one I picked up at Canadian Tire first, it only had 8 thousandths of a second reaction time. So once I brought it home and read that, it was a $50 helmet, which normally sold for $100. I brought it back just because it was actually, should have been a $50 regular price helmet. So I paid a couple extra bucks for this guy, got a way, way better helmet. Unfortunately, with welding masks these days, I couldn't find this guy in all black, or else that's what I would have got. But I don't understand why most welding masks got this tacky shit all over it, and with skulls and flames and all that crap. It's like, I don't know. It might have been cool in the 90s. But anyways, I found this one to be the least tackiest, I guess. I kind of like the old hot rod style pinstriping and all that, and the skull biting, the wrench, whatever. There were uglier ones there. So anyways, I don't mind this guy. So that is that. Yeah, looking forward to getting started on the trailer whenever I find time, and get welding again. It's been quite a few years, so I'll probably test it out on a few scrap pieces of metal just to get the flow again, and go from there. So if you have any questions about this or anything I've done with the wire or whatever, just let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you later.